Which fictional character never fails to piss you off? Percy Wetmore, that sniveling, sadistic bitch of a prison guard who didn't wet the sponge during the execution in the Green Mile. The guy who played him turned into quite a freak show in real life too. Umbridge. The lesson I learned from that character, as a writer, is that audiences respond much more viscerally to unfairness than they do to straight up evil. Voldemort kills people, but has not on this list. Umbridge abuses her power and changes the rules, and is just plain unfair, and she's at the top of the list. Manny from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, duck in a Monleafy looking nunt. Remember that one time the family almost froze to death, and were left without food simply because Manny didn't learn how to tie his shoes? Mr. Poe from Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. He's not exactly the villain, but God is useless. Him and the other adults who don't believe the Baudelaire children for some stupid reasons. Ramsay Bolton, and, of course, Kay Lau. Both equally awful human beings. That Trunchbull lady from Matilda. Oh, but Pam Ferris was so good in that role. She was also Aunt Marge in Harry Potter. Another pretty awful character. Ducking Joffrey Baratheon. I started watching long after the series ended. I kept asking my friend who loaned me the DVD, when is Joffrey going to get what's coming to him? I hope the actor's excellent portrayal didn't ruin his career. Ponkrell. Yes, 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 yes. Greg Heffalai. You only realize what an a-hole he is when you become older. The books make me feel so bad for Owly. Has just some poor kid who wants to be a good friend and Greg just abuses his loyalty and kindness to get whatever he wants. Scrappy-Doo. I loathed him as kid. Interestingly enough, in the live-action Scooby-Doo movie from 2001, Ike, Scrappy is the villain behind the mask. Okay, he was basically piloting a human-like robot, but you get the point. Exclamation mark. Bella from Twilight. This nunt moved to a town where everyone wanted to be her friend and be nice to her, and she blew everyone off for a sparkly MF and his cringe family. I loved that movie when I was younger, but if you look at it from someone else's perspective, you'd understand why she had no friends before. Harsh but necessary. Dora the Explorer. It's right in front of your ducking face. Stop ducking asking me where it is. I'll 8 carat TO I tell carat YOU carat GUIS carat BUT hash SHE apostrophe S not a real explorer if everywhere she goes is mapped. Bella Swan. She's got the wit and personality of wet cardboard, yet everybody bends over backwards to protect her stupid A. Brew the paper cutscene in the second movie pissed me off. No one bleeds like that. Sees is always ducking bleeding. Kay Lau, you little bald-headed nunt. He has cancer, but yet he fails to die. Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Some of you may not know this, but over the course of the series, you can slowly see that little mouse ducker drive Tom insane, even to the point of suicide. He plays the ducking victim all the time. The worst part is, rarely anyone takes Tom's side. No one in the cartoon is able to see that Jerry is a ducking snake. I always thought Jerry was kind of a bitch low-key. Every adult in Matilda Reddit except for Miss Honey, the teacher. Edit 2. Thank you to everyone for upvoting. This is my first big comment and I wrote it because I was bored while camping comeback, and 9k upvotes, so thank you everyone. Don't forget the wonderful librarian who gave Matilda a library card. Olivia Colman's character in Fleabag. She didn't even have to finish her first sentence in a scene and I'd already be pissed off. The absolute worst. To me it is more of a tie between Martin and her. God, it felt good when she punched Martin. I wonder if it ever crossed her mind a scene where she would punch the Olivia Colman character. It's not a specific character, it's more of a trope. I always get pissed off whenever I see the loser character. Examples would be Ernie from George Lopez, Meg from Family Guy, Klaus from American Dad, Toby from The Office, etc. These type of characters often get treated like chiz and most of the time they don't deserve it. Unlike a character like Squidward, who is a loser, but acts like he's God's gift to the world. None of these characters are arrogant, narcissistic, or even egotistical. I feel that they are treated the way they are because of sadistic writers enjoy torturing characters in the shows they work for. Toby gets cheers specifically from Michael to show how irritating and unfair Michael can be. But with Meg from Family Guy, her abuse is the joke. That's it. Let's laugh at Meg, because she's a loser. Why is she a loser? I actually don't even know. The whole thing's in poor taste. K-Win from Deep Space Nine. That role is acted and written so perfectly. It's the same actress who played Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Louise Fletcher, who was also great in that role. Umbridge before Harry Potter came out. Win is the embodiment of lawful evil and personal ambition wrapped in a package that is supposed to be /good beyond all measure. Interesting literary parallels between Win and some historic Catholic popes though. Dinklerberg. Found Timmy Turner's dad. Mitchabel. I wish nothing but lumbago onto that rat bastard. That nunt Peppa Pig can duck right off. She and the rest of the family treat Daddy Pig like shiz because he is overweight despite being able to move at like the same pace as the rest of them. Dude should leave his bully family and go somewhere nice. Grimmer Wormtongue. LOTR. What a creep. Also Octavian from Percy Jackson. And half the men Shakespeare wrote. Especially that guy from Tatema Shrew. Edit. Wow. I'm new to Reddit, so I don't think I have ever gotten so many upvotes. To be fair, you're pretty much destined to be a creep as soon as you get the name Grimmer Wormtongue. Grandpa Joe. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory is a straight up manipulative gaslighting bitch. Duck Grandpa Joe. Edit. Uncle to Grandpa. Lays in bed for 30 years not helping impoverished family hoards money for tobacco. Suddenly can walk when there is a chocolate factory to go to. Convinces grandson to help him steal from said factory. Rages when confronted with his own theft. Yup. Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights. I don't understand how anyone can describe him as an anti-hero after he imprisons a 17-year-old girl in his house and forces her to marry a dying man just so that he can steal her rightful inheritance because of a childhood feud. What an utter dastard. I like it that you are caring about spoilers for a book that's over 170 years old. Ducking K-Lau. Him just a ducking kid, and I got a bigger head. I'm always crying in Kayla. I cry every ducking day when I don't get my way. Would you like to play cause in Kayla? I don't give a duck about what you say, so mommy and daddy get the duck out ta way. Growing up is not a joy. I don't like these ducking toys, so smoke a bleezy wit ya boy. Kayla duck you bitch him Kayla. Lester on GTA V. If he calls me about the casino heist one more time, I'm punching him in the Rick edit. And you know what? I ducking hate Bryony and her dumb arena chisel to arena when I ducking want to. Okay, hear me out. Yes, getting the calls is annoying, but that's a Rockstar feature, not a bug. Of all the contacts in GTA 5, who is the most annoying? Simeon always talks down to you and guilts you into bitch work. Franklin's friend Lama, who never did anything wrong and constantly puts you down. Brucey, who is Brucey. The list goes on. Lester is at least a straight shooter who brings you quality work and is genuine in his relationships. Maybe all he wants is for you to call him besides when you need something from him. Yeah, no. Lester just wants a pal. Peppa Pig. Entitled Little Chiz. I won't let my kids watch it. I'm loving how many people feel so strongly about this little animated pig. Piper Chapman from OITNB. I feel like there were other characters who were way more fascinating and better developed, and she was just the rich, Winnie, white lady that did absolutely nothing. Piper Chapman was jacked as she was the least interesting person in that whole facility. Those damn kids always spoiling it for the Trix rabbit. Poor guy just wants to eat breakfast. Packer in the Office. Horrible, offensive, unfunny. Surprised I had to scroll so far to find this. He's just gross. The entire Tharma faction in Skyrim. The Blades were horrible too. The Tharma were the worst, but somehow Delphine always found a way to be even worse. Percy Weirlie. He just turned against his family and didn't care until Fred had been killed. Actually, he came around just before Fred died. He was still an prick, though. There's a little cartoon rabbit called Bing. He is the winniest little chiz ever to exist. Stupid bunny. It's a Bing thing. Duck off. Octavian from Heroes of Olympus said it. Thanks for the gold. Spoiler, his death was so satisfying. K-Lau has such a spoiled brat. I bet the only reason he gets his way is because chances are he has cancer. He is often cited as the reason for children's bad behavior, especially when parents are not as involved as they should be. The old man who calls the Fire Nation soldiers on Haru after he saves his freaking life. Bitch. Walter White. From the perspective of someone who ran out of sympathy for him halfway through Breaking Bad is mostly show where Walt's ego drives him to make decisions that turn bad situations worse. First time through I was rooting for Walter all the way, but on a rewatch a year or two later I couldn't stomach the guy. Dolores Umbridge never wished worse on a character than her. The Og Karen. Sheldon Cooper is an ignorant, narcissistic, childish, spoiled, indulged, selfish prick. All the core crew are a-holes, especially in the beginning of the show. They are misogynistic and awful to everyone, but it's dismissed as silly nerds being nerds. Rachel Berry, Mercedes Jones, Kurt Hummel most of the time. Damn, they piss me off. But Kurt's dad. Literally the image of what a parent to an LGBT child should be. Emily from Until Dawn. It's just here PRNK, The Roadrunner. Ducking know your place in the food chain. What can I say? He's fast food. Smelly Gabe from Percy Jackson. He was literally abusive to Percy and Sally, but he got what he deserved in the end. Holy cheese, he was a rig. Senator Kinsey from Stargate, SG-1. Senator Kinsey, fun fact, the same actor had a very similar role in Street, TNG, replacing CPT. Pickett for 2 episodes as the captain of the Enterprise. That's why seeing him on SG-1 I instantly hated him. That blonde chick from A Silent Voice. She was so fake. The MC was trying to be a better person, but as soon as she was about to be implicated in the bullying of the deaf girl she made a scene in front of the whole clan, who were not involved in the issue at all. The bullying had happened years ago, and nearly threw the MC under the bus, again, and nearly turned the whole clan and their new friend group against him to save her safe. I was so angry when she was still counted as a member of their friend group in the end, because that kind of snake behavior don't stop unless it's called out and punished. And she acted so innocent too. Shake my head. God, that movie ducked me up one night. Lol. I knew it easy serious, but I was bawling and hurting and just, damn. Nick Carraway from The Great Gatsby. Whinny judgmental man who does nothing to change or alter anything he disagrees with. He has no backbone, and is arguably worse than the other elitist snobs, because he doesn't just partake in all of their awful actions quite willingly, but judges them, and holds himself on some sort of moral pedestal, as if he is without fault or sin. I hate major hypocrisy, those unwilling to change things they aren't happy with, and those unwilling to fight for what they believe in. Screw you, Nick Carraway. Nick Carraway is the person who says they hate drama, but is suspiciously full of details. Archerito from Money Heist, La Casa de Papel. I really waited for him to get popped. Maybe next season. Tie between DW. From Arthur and Megan from Drake and Josh. The whole blatantly awful younger sibling who terrorizes the protagonist and always gets away with it was a strange trope that has thankfully died. Meanwhile it hits way too close to home for me. Andy Burnett from The Office. He's so ducking annoying it's unbelievable. I get that his character is supposed to be obnoxious, but it doesn't make watching him any less frustrating. Angela is admittedly less overtly obnoxious, but is a much worse person. I get angry every time she opens her judgmental hypocrite bitch mouth. Star-Lord. Just that one time though, other than that, he's one of my favorites. It's interesting that the same behavior, instantly reacting to villains killing their family with violence, gets him praise with Ego and condemnation with Thanos. We love him for shooting Ego, but are surprised when he starts pistol whipping Thanos. I like the character consistency. Ross Geller. I hate Ross' personality, but David Schwimmer has the best physical comedy out of the 6 of them. I used to laugh at Chandler's wits, but now I lose my chiz at his physical acting and reactions. Bracing myself for hate and downvotes, but duck it. Feel like I need to do it. Self-destructive Reddit post inbound. Wilson, from Castaway, he had such a huge part in that movie, but I felt his dialogue had absolutely no range and his performance was almost deflated. He could have been so much more than what he was. Edit. Thank you for all the upvotes. I'm amazed at H's post about a volleyball made 500. Appreciating the love, guys and gals. You have to love it. This comment not Wilson. It's got to be little Lisa Simpson. Springfield's answer to a question no one asked. Ned Flanders. I used to love Lisa, but after she became a vegetarian, I felt all her jokes boiled down to I love jazz and no one else does. Meat is murder. Vegetarians are so much better. I'm bullied / getting bullied for being smart. Ted Mosby. Right from the first episode he was shown to be obsessed with finding his one true love. It's almost as if his life had no other purpose. The worst part of this show is they made Robin and Barney make so much sense and gave Barney great characters development, and they divorced them 2 episodes later and killed the perfect woman off that Ted was always looking for, just for him to be obsessed with Robin again. Minita from MHA. I hate when people justify his actions by saying he's horny like a normal teenager. As a teenage boy myself, I can tell you that no normal teen is nearly as horny as Minita. He's just so ducking creepy. The worst part is that the teachers don't discipline him for his actions. Percy Wetmore from The Green Mile. He made my blood boil, and the actor who played him isn't that great of a person either. Muffy from Arthur. Even as a kid I despised her. She's so spoiled and shellfish and treats her friends like they are below her because she's rich. I laughed out loud at this exchange. Mr. Ratburn has given the kids an assignment not to spend money over the weekend. Muffy, yeah, but poor kids are used to it. He'll actually know what I'm missing by not spending money. Francine, you're breaking my heart. Jaffa from Aladdin. I hate his smugger face. I hate him so much. Jaffa, he's our man. If he can't do it, great. Mosh, these words are accepted. Snape. He's not as bad as Umbridge, but he's a total a-hole to everyone around him. His viciousness towards porn evil is especially horrible. Couldn't agree more. I hate how everyone is so sympathetic towards him. They excuse his abuse of Harry and every other child he abused like it was nothing. You don't abuse innocent children and get to be a good person. Not to mention he became a literal terrorist after a girl rejected him. That just grinds my gears. Rapunzel's mom entangled. That hagger, bitcher, manipulative, gaslighting and undeserved to be thrown out of the tower. If it makes you feel any better, she probably had the most brutal Disney death. Rapidly aging and experiencing body fluctuations as a result in such a short period of time that she was dust before she hit the ground is pretty brutal. Definitely agonizing. Deserved it all the way though. Dr. Sheldon Cooper, selfish, arrogant, narcissistic prick who almost never gets his comeuppance. I used to love TBBT, but his arrogant chiz and the fact that he always seems to get away with it is the main reason I stopped watching it. Duck him. Frank Gallagher. Honestly, I loved Shameless, but William Massey as Frank was just so perfectly cast and acted, I had to stop. He made me physically disgusted. Janice Soprano. Would have clipped her myself if I could. I was going to say Livia, Tony's mom. She makes my eyes twitch whenever she's on, and I can't wait for her to die every time I rewatch the series. Donald Trump from The Apprentice. I didn't mind him in The Apprentice, but his spin-off is cheese. Here is a challenge. Guess the character. Do you get to the cloud d street record verive 10? OHW hearty OMI SAYENG of coercio you don't. I despise Nazim and his bullches. Minita from BNHA. Need I even say anything? You needn't. Brooklyn 99. I hate the Vulture. He's so gross. I'm always amazed at how he manages to outdo himself and be even more disgusting in every appearance. Props to the actor for being such a convincing cheesehead. To me, Turner Holiducky is a schizophrenia self-pitying little bitch. His high-pitched shrieks would annoy the duck out of me. As a child, I was taught to be grateful for what I have. to me needs to learn it too. And THT, not everything is about me. I imagine having the power to get anything you want with a wish would make you a bit selfish. I thought it was a great twist near the end, where you found out Timmy wished for everyone to stop aging, so he could keep his fairy godparents forever. Rory Gilmore. I remember the first time I watched that show. I was the same age as Rory, and I wanted desperately to be her cool friends. Multiple hot boys wanting you. Smart, pretty, rich grandparents, so you know you're gonna inherit a chizload of money someday. Mom who was more like a best friend and never made you do chiz you didn't want to do. And then I rewatched it. Holy crap. Yeah, I knew before that she was often her own best enemy, but I never realized the extent of it. She's a smarmy little bitch. She and her mom went through that town on a bulldozer, plowing under everyone in their way, and the town loved them for it. WTF was up with that? If I treated a guy even remotely as chisty as Rory and Lorelai treated, insert any of dozens of names here, I would want to jump off a bridge. But they just went to I'm not in the right place right now, or I suddenly realized that the one is really the one, and you're not the one, even though I thought you were the one 5 minutes ago. Ugh. What a horrid pair of privileged self-obsessed selfish bitches. DV is never justified, but damn if I wasn't rooting for Luke to smack someone over the head with a ducking plate of donuts. And as if all that wasn't enough, they never drink their damn coffee. Jeebus cripes. The man gives you free coffee for a friggin' decade, and you never take a sip of it? Can you not see that's wrong? Nellie from The Office, especially the time she strolls in and steals Andy's job and nobody does anything about it. Sid and, well, anyone from Sid the Science Kid. Tom from Parks and Rec. I know his character is supposed to be annoying, but he's not annoying in a funny way. I really dislike Tom. He dishes what he can't take. Jerry/Terry/Larry/Gary has to come in once a week during his retirement, just because poor Tommy can't handle getting picked on. What a little bitch. Ramsay Bolton or McCabell. Two great actors playing such despicable characters. Padme could have saved Anakin from turning to the dark side had she ducking told Obi-Wan about the sand people thing. Good point. Dude just confessed to the slaughter of an entire indigenous people, and she lets it go. Rumpelstiltskin from OUAT. Good grief, pick a side. Every time you think he's changed, and he just can't help himself. That being said, he's most of the reason I watch the show. He was well acted, but really poorly written. Like, give the guy a break and let him have some character growth already. Damn. It's not fun watching this guy learn the same lesson over and over again, and honestly I felt like the actor got tired of it at some point too. I really started to hate BoJack Horseman after the last season's revelation. Spoilers ahead. So back in season 3, Sarah Lynn, a girl who BoJack has known her whole life, dies from a heroin overdose. It's a very sad moment in the show. To the viewer it looks as though BoJack realized she overdosed and then called emergency services. BoJack then has a ton of guilt throughout the rest of the series. In the final season, we're given a more behind the scenes look at what happened there. BoJack realized she overdosed and then called himself from her phone and went outside and waited almost 20 minutes before calling emergency services so he could tell them that she called him, and he came running so he wouldn't get in trouble with the police. The doctors explain also that Sarah Lynn died in hospital, so if the ambulance had arrived on time then they might have been able to save her. Even though BoJack said to an interviewer that he loved Sarah Lynn, he still wasn't willing to face the consequences for providing her with heroin and allowing her to die from an overdose. I should also point out that at this point in the show Sarah Lynn had been clean from drugs for maybe a year now. As someone that's never watched the show, isn't this the one about the talking horse? Is it really that heavy? Edit. Started watching it. Biff in Back to the Future. Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? Danzo from the Naruto series. God, I hated that shiz head. Edit. Jesus Christ, I riled some people up. Half the problems in the series are caused indirectly or directly by Danzo. Oh my. You watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.